What the hell is Saw Sports or whatever that last call was talking about? What the hell is that?
Guys are from Free Love, man.
What's the motherfucking deal? Welcome to Saw Sports. I am your host, Honcho. Today we're going to be getting into the 5 keys to watch for the Panthers versus the Texans game. Then make sure you're following Saw Sports on all the proper social medias listed below. Consider joining the Saw Sports Facebook group. And if you want to support the channel, you can always go to patreon.com/Saw Sports if you want to pledge on a monthly basis to the channel. And there will be a lot of extra stuff coming there. Going to have some private podcasts and things like that coming there very soon. So shout out to everybody who's been supporting. But let's stop wasting time. Let's get into the 5 keys to victory, or 5 things to watch, whatever you want to call it, for the Panthers versus the Houston Texans this Sunday. All right, before we get started, I want to say shout out to Ricky D for the picture in today's background. Again, hey, the sauce is a bunch of ingredients coming together to make one wonderful flavor. That's why this is the freshest flavor in H-Town Sports. If you want to be a part of that, man, send in what you got, original artwork, content, whatever it may be, and we will definitely throw it up on the sauce. But let's get into it. Number 5, brotherly beef. You got 2 solid safety securing their secondaries that just happen to be siblings on both sides of the ball. You have young Justin Reed representing the Texans. You have the older brother Eric Reed representing the Panthers. The parents will be in the stands, and although they will not be going head to head, they definitely will be competing with one another. I'm sure for bragging rights in the household. I know they don't live together, but I'm sure when Thanksgiving comes along or whenever they have a holiday, so they can talk a little trash to each other. And at one point, does the student become the master? Because we know Eric had a big influence on Justin as he was coming up through college while his brother was in the pros. And so we as Texans fans definitely can thank Eric Reed for that influence and for Justin coming into the game, being as intelligent and as knowledgeable about the game as he is, and then being able to come in and be a standout from a rookie. Now, he's not having his best year so far, dealing with some injuries. I think that is the primary problem. We saw him secure the game on us in the last second play against the Jags. So it's going to be interesting. Like I said, even though they're not necessarily going head-to-head, they will be competing for the parents' love. But if you've ever seen a sibling rivalry, there's one point that the younger sibling overtakes the older sibling, and the dynamic of that relationship changes. It's going to be very interesting because Eric came out talking some trash as we said that Justin never beat him in anything. It's going to be very interesting to see. So let's get into the next key right now. So number 4, as we work our way down from 5 to 1, is battling the better backs. We've seen Kamara, we've seen Austin Eckler. Unfortunately, the Texans were just outside the Melvin Gordon return, so they didn't have to deal with that. But with the loss of certain players on defense this offseason or training camp, whatever you want to call it, the Texans have not been as solid of a run-stopping team. Again, you could be talking about maybe facing better backs or whatever it is. And no, you haven't had anybody put up that 100-plus yard game on you, but the run game overall has been more detrimental to this Texas defense. But a guy like Christian McCaffrey's had a few 100-plus yard games already. Out of the 3 games, he had 2 for over 120. Then, he's a threat out of the backfield. He's a versatile running back, and he's a guy that can do a lot of damage if you let him. And if the Texans aren't on him early and often, they will be converted to Christianity because this guy can do damage. I really like him. I like him coming out of college. Then, he's a Stanford guy and has a relationship with Colin Bailey, has a relationship with Justin Reed. So that's going to be a very interesting dynamic. There are going to be some familiarities, and that may work in our favor as far as, Justin Reed going up against him. Maybe some of his tendencies, but I think he's a shifty guy. He's a crafty guy that's going to be extremely hard to stop. So the Texans are going to have to get on him early and often, and hopefully they can put up a nice lead to where the Panthers will have to abandon the running game and maybe not rely on him so much. But again, he can still be a legitimate threat in the passing game if you let him, and I expect the rookie to rely upon him heavily. So the better RBs is a struggle for the Texans right now. I don't see them stopping the run as well as they have in recent years. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. But let's go ahead and get into the 3rd key now. So I want to talk about the 3rd key. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're listening this far. You like this stuff, so go ahead and become a fresh ingredient by hitting that subscribe button. But the 3rd key I want to talk about is building better bonds. And what I mean by that is through the first 3 weeks, we've seen different configurations in the offensive line. I would like to see some continuity. I would like them to find a unit that they want to stick with. Again, it's something that should have been done in fucking training camp, not the 3rd, 4th week of the season. And I would like to see, in my opinion, the best unit that they put out so far, which was the unit that they put out last week. I think the relationship between Sharpring and Tunsil is a bit better, and people can justify whatever they want to. I think that Sharping was better at LG than Titus was. I don't know what the issue is with Roger Johnson. We know Henderson apparently was hurt or whatever they want to call it last week. And so you saw Titus get the start. But I would like them to find a configuration that they're comfortable with and stick with it and just kind of deal with the growing pains. Because this shifting, this whole versatile arrangement that they have every week, it to me, it gets frustrating. To me, I think it's confusing in a sense, not just for the guys, but you have to have a position. Now, if you can assist or you are versatile enough to help another person, cool. But when you're just trying putting these patchwork pieces together, it tells me that whoever's evaluating this talent is doing a piss poor job. It's almost like a guessing game. It's almost like they're guessing and checking like you used to do in your elementary math homework when you try to figure stuff out. And we know who is responsible for this line. We know who's the man over that. And to me, that shows I don't know if it's a lack of confidence or a lack of coaching ability or a lack of talent evaluation. These guys should have a home position going into training camp, but much less by now is going into the fourth week of the season. So it's going to be interesting to see if they keep the same configuration or if they try to switch it up. And then also watching Tunsil, I know he's had an ankle injury and he's been kind of limited, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens to him. But I'm not as concerned with him and his performance as long as he stays healthy. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with some of these other guys on the line. So building a better bond by having continuity on the offensive line, that is key. They need to keep the same group they had last week and then just kind of move forward with that again, like I say, and work through the growing pains. Let's get into the second key and make sure, again, you stay tuned to the very end. We used to have the bonus at the end, but now it's the comment of the day, so make sure you check out the comment of the day at the very end of the video after we go through the 5 keys, but let's get into it now. So the second key to this Texans versus Panthers game, or Panthers versus Texans, depending on how you want to look at it, Steele's waters run deep. And what I mean by that is Kenny Steele, since he's become a member of the Houston Texans, has had a 30-plus yard play each and every week. Now, all of them haven't translated to win. It's not like he's putting up gaudy numbers, but he has had an explosive play each and every week that has got this offense rolling. Last week, I believe it was on the flea flicker. We can talk about the touchdown in New Orleans. It's just that he is a guy that has come in and contributed in a major way. Now, with the addition of Kenny Steele, and if you caught the video I did about the trade possibilities, you know there's a lot of people talking about, well, we could trade QT because now that we have Steele. If you watch the video, you know my thoughts on that. I don't think that's ideal because of the receiver health issues that we've seen with this team in the past and even last year, that you want as much receiving talent as you possibly can. And I think that QT is a solid guy. I think DeAndre Carter is also solid. But you want to keep everybody that you can and not just going away and throwing away talent that you're going to possibly need, and knowing Will Fuller's help. But that's kind of off topic. But Kenny Steele has been a welcome addition. I will eat a little bit of crow because I was capping on that trade. I was like, oh, it really wasn't worthwhile. But he has come in and he has contributed in a solid way and been impactful from day one. So shout out to Kenny Steele and shout out to the crow, the little bit of crow that fella was kind of nasty. Let's get into the number one key to watch this game with the Houston Texans and the Carolina Panthers. All right, the number one key this game. And I'll just think about the last key. Kenny Steele. Kenny Steele sounds like a country singer name. That goddamn new Kenny Steele's album, man. Goddamn it, that's some good music right there, brother. But, no, not that kneeling. Anyway, I get off topic sometimes. But anyway, rack versus rookies. There is a historical precedent. I don't have the record offhand. But rack and his success versus rookies is a talking point that a lot of people like to use. I personally think that rack, the game has kind of passed him by. We've been fortunate in the last few games, but in each of these games, the opportunity has been there for the Texans to lose. And you question what Romeo Crennel is doing, how he's having these guys lined up, and how much of an impact on the game he's having in a positive or negative way. And we could use the same talking point against Gardner Minshew a couple of weeks ago. And it really came down to, half a foot, 4 or 5 inches, honestly, from being, hey, let's fire a rack to great job, Justin Reed. I mean, that's essentially what it came down to. Had it been a lesser safety, had it been anybody else, I don't think they make that play. And we're having a different conversation about these Texans. But we got the win. We're going to take the win and build upon that. But rack versus rookies. So Kyle Allen have a good game. I think he had 3 or 4 touchdowns against Arizona. I mean, come on. Arizona and Miami, those games don't count. Like anybody who's having success against Arizona and Miami this year, those games are like, give me. It's not even a thing. So if somebody says, oh, they had a great game against Arizona and Miami, if those two games are on their record, throw it out. Yes, throw out Lamar Jackson. Throw out who I think Dallas had something like, come on, man, throw those games out. Like, if you got those guys on your record and the people trying to pump you up for having a great game against those teams, get out of here with the nonsense. So I think we're going to find out for real who Allen is. With Cam Newton being out, he's going to be questionable, I think, for quite some time. They're saying he's day-to-day or whatever it is. Had it been a healthy Cam, I'd have worries about this game. But again, like I said, you're seeing a rookie getting his second go. And I don't think we really know what he's working because, again, the team that you went up against wasn't really a quality caliber team. I don't think the Texans are currently elite right now, but they're a much more solid team than Arizona. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the outcome of this game is, how Romeo attacks Colin. Does he see some things on film? Does he see some weaknesses? Does he see some tendencies? It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Now, if you stay tuned this far, man, make sure you stay tuned to see if you have gotten picked for comment of the day. And if you want to know how you can become comment of the day, man, just leave a comment. We're going to pick one randomly that, I think, or one of the roundtable members may think is a good comment to be addressed on the video. We're still coming up with a name of that, but we'll get to that in a minute, so stay tuned. All right, before we get into the comment of the day, I want to make sure again to remind you to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're following Saw Sports on all the proper social medias down below. Make sure you're here for the live pre and post game show an hour before the game starts, before every game. If you are a Texas fan, if you're just a fan of a team, you just want to come and talk some shit, everybody's more than welcome. So an hour before the game, the pre-game show will start on this channel, and immediately after the game, the post-game show, we will recap the good, the bad, and the ugly. But again, I'm your host, Honcho, and I appreciate you for watching. Hit that sub button, hit those, follow those proper social medias. Anything else you need to know about the channel, links in the description down below. But with that being said, y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Most of all, y'all stay saucy. Stay tuned for the comment of the day right now. All right, again, man, shout out to Ricky D for the bike in the back. Appreciate that. With the fifth wheel, the white walls. I thought it was nice, man. You're going to let me slide to Austin, man. You're going to let me borrow it so I can dip around the city. The legs could use the exercise. So, comment of the day today, man, is coming from Texan Tubers. My name is Toby. That's a bad joke, Honcho. Don't say that. Anyway, says, sup, bro. What do you think about people never talking about the Texans or Watson's amazing performances? I always feel like Watson is overlooked, and it makes me sad, LOL. Well, here's my thing with that, okay? And one, that's why you got Saw Sports, because we will always talk about the Texans. We will always talk about Watson's amazing performances and the amazing performances of all the Texans players who contribute. But here's the thing, especially when it comes to the national media. Like I said, I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and that was one of the first videos I did. The national media hates Houston. I understand why. I truly do understand why. And that is because there's been so many times that Houston and H-Town sports teams, especially the Texans, more so, we're talking current teams more so than anyone else, have built you up to let you down. Okay, and I know certain people don't want to hear this, oh, you're being negative, but it's the truth. So many times that the Texans have been in contention or in the conversation only to fall off, only to disappoint. We can look at the Colts game last year. We can go back in history. We can talk about Letterman games. We can talk about how the Texans failed to overcome the Patriots consistently. And so it's when it comes to the big dogs, that's why people tend not to put them there. And so a lot of people in the national media don't really give the Texans a lot of credit. Now, if you want to talk about recently and this week, I think that's kind of untrue because Watson just won AFC Player of the Week, Offensive Player of the Week. So obviously he got recognized this week. But part of that also goes to, you got some talent out there right now. You got to look at what they gave Lamar Jackson a lot of hype. If you're just talking about this season, they gave Lamar Jackson a lot of hype early on for those two bogus games against those, if you want to call them teams right now. Then you got to look at what Patrick Mahomes has been doing. Again, these are two guys that are in the AFC, young quarterbacks that, do I think they're necessarily better than Deshaun Watson? Overall, no. I think they're in maybe more favorable situations, and I think that they may have better coaches around them. But I don't think Lamar Jackson's really in that conversation. I think he just got 2 favorable games, and he's improved, but I don't think he's in the same category as Deshaun Watson with what he's had to deal with. And then Patrick Mahomes, just his whole situation. He's a talented kid. I mean, not taking any talent away from him, but coaching, talent that's around him, being able to sit behind a veteran guy to learn, and just the situation that he's put in overall, I think he has a more favorable situation. So you see these guys having some success, and the national media jumps on that. When you're a team that's challenging and contending, that's where the story is. It's about So what I'm saying is, nationally, people want to see the teams that they think are going to win. They want to see highlights. They want to see that type of stuff going on. A lot of people don't have faith in the Texans being that team, and the Texans have a relatively small fan base compared to probably everybody else in the league. They're probably the smallest fan base, and there's a few reasons for that I'm going to talk about in a different video. But again, that's why you have Saw Sports, because we will always comment on all the quality. Make sure you tell a friend about it. National media may not give us the love, but hey, we're gonna practice some self-love. We're gonna love ourselves. But anyway, with that being said, man, it's your boy Ed Honcho. I'm chugging up deuce. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool, and I appreciate you for watching. Y'all the freshest motherfucking ingredients in the world, but most of all, Jack, hit that subscribe button, and y'all stay saucy.
Perfect.